But John Nichols with The Nation, the Washington correspondent for The Nation magazine, thenation.com, the website, on the line with us. Hey, John, welcome.
Tom, it's just great to be with you. We speak on a momentous day.
I understand that there was, why is it momentous?
We've got some remarkable new poll numbers.
Oh, I was just going to say, I understand there's a new poll out, and then I thought, oh, wait a minute, maybe it's okay, go for it.
Yeah, I know. Usually when we get poll numbers, we open them a bit cautiously and with concern. Mm-hmm. But as you know, because you reported so well, not just on Wisconsin, but on these state-based struggles across the country, these governors who have adopted austerity measures have really killed out job growth, and it's been quite devastating. And Wisconsin's had a lot of headlines over the last couple of weeks about Governor Walker's devastating impact on job creation. We have the new poll out that just came, and for the first time in quite a while, the poll shows that of the voters, among registered voters, Governor Walker now trails his leading Democratic challenger, that's Tom Barrett. And also it shows that for the first time, voters in Wisconsin have, by rapidly increasing numbers, come to the conclusion that Democrats do a better job of creating jobs than Republicans, which is a very, very big deal. What it suggests is, and this gets you to the bottom line, and I know you've got a lot of listeners, not just in Wisconsin, but around the country who follow the fight there. There is a very real chance that this governor, Scott Walker, will be defeated in the June 5th election. It doesn't mean for sure he will be,
right?
But this pattern of poll numbers is very positive.
Well, that's a good sign. John, yesterday was the Occupy the World Day. It was May Day, and you've written and in fact did a nice little video piece for The Nation about the impact of citizens movements and activist. I'm getting redundant. Activist activities and things like that. Give us a history lesson on this.
Well, I'll do the best I can. Look, you know this very well, Tom, and I think your listeners do from being, part of the community that's been built around this show. The way that progressives have won, the way that progressives have moved things forward in America is by combining activism in the streets with a smart approach to electoral politics, not doing one versus the other. Unfortunately, in recent decades, by and large, although not completely, an awfully lot of progressives kind of started to lean more and more toward a confidence in electoral politics and sometimes in the courts to deliver the progress they wanted. And as we well know, we have not had a lot of progress of late on a lot of fronts. One of the things that's been incredibly positive over the last year and a half, and some would trace it even back to the mid-2000s where the immigrant rights movement went to the streets, but especially in the last year and a half, as labor and progressive activists, particularly young people, have gone to the streets and made aggressive demands as regards labor rights, the rights of workers, and really a vision for a fairer society. They've begun to change a lot of the dynamics, and they're not doing something new. In many senses, they are returning to a tried and true formula. So yesterday, I was a very, very happy man because I watched across the United States as particularly young people, but also backed up by unions, brought the Occupy movement back into the streets in a major way, in significant numbers. And that's what we need. We cannot just, wait for some election down the line to deliver us. We've got to be activists, physically active, if we're going to see the kinds of real change and real shift in the debate that I think a lot of us want.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Scott Walker and Christie and the Doe Probe. Tell me about this.
This is the opposite of Occupy, isn't it? Chris Christie flew out to Wisconsin to campaign for Scott Walker on Occupy Day. I guess Christie wanted to get as far as New York and New Jersey as he could, or far from it. So he came out to Wisconsin, and he took, if you can believe it, Occupy rhetoric and tried to turn it around and have it be on the side of Scott Walker. Chris Christie said, that the fight in Wisconsin, the recall battle that we are talking about, is really a fight between the will of the people and the special interests. And, of course, Christie was suggesting the special interests are, working people in their unions. But the comedy of his statement was that he made it on the very day that it was revealed that Scott Walker had raised $13 million, more than any candidate for governor has ever raised in the history of the state, not over the course of a whole campaign, but in the course of one campaign finance quarter, 1 3-month period, raised $13 million, and that 74% of his contributors were from outside Wisconsin, not inside Wisconsin. And so you saw here Christie trying to play some sort of populist card, ends up actually being on exactly the wrong side of it. And then to add insult to injury, or comedy perhaps, Christie said that he was supporting Scott Walker because Scott Walker was a good and decent and honorable man. But at almost precisely the same time that Christie was uttering those words, it was being revealed that Scott Walker's campaign had quietly shifted $60,000 over to help fund Scott Walker's criminal defense fund to combat a John Doe probe into campaign and official corruption.
Amazing. Amazing. So
where's better than that, does it?
Where is that going to go, by the way?
That John Doe probe is a very real, very big deal. It still has not begun to reach its full level of significance. There have been 5 aides to the governor and campaign donors to the governor who have been charged with significant crimes. 14 felony indictments have been brought forward. But the fact is that that investigation continues. There's going to be a lot more developing on it. And what we know is that in addition to $60,000 going into the governor's criminal defense fund, which will pay for he's hired 2 of the top criminal defense lawyers in the upper Midwest. His campaign also revealed that it had spent $170,000 on 2 other law firms that are also trying to defend the campaign itself on charges related to, at least on some charges related to the John Doe probe. So there's a lot blowing up there, and in almost all of it circles back to real questions about what did the governor know and when did he know it.
And who did he get his money from, and what was the agenda?
Right.
It's like, whose toady is he? Is he working for the people, or is he working for the billionaires? And if so, which billionaires, and what specifically did they want? It's just amazing. John Nichols with The Nation. TheNation.com is the website. John, thanks a lot for dropping by.
I am delighted to be with you, Tom. You've done such a good job on this story.
Thank you. Always great talking with you.